So welcome to the Building Blocks of Bass. My name is Bob DeBoo. Glad to be here with you, representing Open Studio. Big shout out Open Studio. We love everything they do over there. So what are we working on today? I was just sitting here thinking about how, of course, 99.9% of what we do on this channel is making bass lines, right? We're working on walking bass lines. We've done so much in that front. And that's really key to what we do for our role as bass players. And like I said, that's 99% of the job that we do. So just disclaimer, if anybody gets heated because we're not doing bass lines, we're not fulfilling our role, we're just stepping away a little bit today, giving a little bass love to something else, you know, to another facet that we as musicians do on the instrument, right? So we also play solos. But that probably happens more often. Obviously, we play solos. You know, we covered Derek Hodge, we covered Oscar Pettiford here before, Tricketism, and etc. We've probably done more. But even less than that, we hear bass melodies. You know what I mean? You're not going to hear that too often unless it's on perhaps a album written by or put out by a bass player, right? So we don't see that too often. There's some great exceptions in the comments, and if you have more in mind, please let me know. I'll be checking these comments even after we're live. But we're here to practice a melody written by Joshua Redman on the great Compass album. And I'm going to dip over here. This album, right? Which is, if you haven't heard this yet, you have to, not right now, of course, but seek this out immediately and listen to Round Reuben, which is the song that we're going to be checking out today. Let's just listen to a taste of it, okay? So it's Joshua Redman and Reuben Rogers, who the song was written for, of course. Got to give a little love to Mr. Reuben Rogers. This guy right here, super bad dude, as you know. So I'll put the transcription up on the screen. You can get the transcription by clicking the link downstairs here. You get a PDF. It's no hassle, no stress. It's totally free, but you can get it by clicking there. Here we go. This is what we're watching. Or this is the transcription, and let's listen along with it, okay? Okay, and it kind of burns along. Listen a little bit slower. I'm going to slow the audio down 70% and just follow along here. Okay, and then there's more of the melody. This same theme repeats again, and then there's what we would call a bridge, right, where it really breaks down, and Reuben gets a lot of like place to shine. They say this melody once more, and then they go kind of free for a while. Okay, so this is not the entire melody. We don't really have time to get through all of that today, but I did want to take it a section at a time. There's 12 bars we're going to get into today, so let's start by looking at the first 4 measures. Okay, so this is, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is the bebop melody, right? There's a lot of syncopation, so we can learn a lot from this that could actually get implemented into our soloing, into our own melody writings, of course. So let's just start off. It's in the key of E flat, okay? So we're in E flat. Let's just take a measure at a time. We'll do it out of time, and I'll just say what fingerings I'm using. And please let me know in the comments if you have another suggestion that might help me out or help somebody else out, because we're all just here to get better practice playing bass. So let's look at the first little bit. We've got a G. Let's talk about the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 ba 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 da do ba da do ba ba. And it keeps going. Of course, the melody goes a little bit further, but this is kind of the fingering that I've been doing. You could play this first G open, but I kind of like to close it here. So, as in this, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I'm playing pinky on the D string where the G would be. although you could play that open. I think it just has a different kind of sound, and as we speed this up, that's really where I've ran into some issues using the open string. If I play it closed, it just seems to sit better. So again, I'll do it like here. Fourth finger, first, 4, 1, 4, and there's a little bit of play in there, right? It's a little bluesy. So 4, 1, 4, 1, 1, 4. Now here you could do open G. You could always do open G, but 4, 1, 1. And I'm going down to 1 right here to this E flat because it's setting me up for the A flat right next door on the G string. So A flat, G, just first to open, and then B flat on the A string. So again, and it keeps going. The next part of the melody keeps going. We'll do it in bigger chunks too, but let's just take this much so far. We'll start it off kind of slow. Disclaimer, metronome's about to pop on, okay? I'm going to turn it on at 70 beats per minute for right now, and we're going to call it beats 2 and 4. So that's where we're at. So it's like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the tempo, okay? So we're under. They're taking it quite a bit faster than this. But let's just count and clap the rhythm of this melody first against this tempo before we put it on the bass. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba 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 da ba da ba 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 da da ba da do ba da do ba ba. So there's a lot of syncopations, a lot of off the beat stuff, and I actually played this right here. I added an extra eighth note in there just now, but that's how it works. Da 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 ba 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 da ba da. Okay, so we want that to feel real comfortable, and we want to know the rhythm, of course, before we start playing this. So let's try it out. Let's put all this together, these first 4 bars of round robin. You ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And that's where we're heading, that last little phrase there. Let's play this one more time, and we'll speed it up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, good, good, good. So here is where we're trying to get with this tempo. We're trying to get to here. Eventually, if we're going to play it at the same speed as the recording, right? So let's bump this up to let's bump it up to 80. Still 2 and 4, but now we're a little bit faster, right? So this is 80 at 2 and 4, so we're at 160, of course. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we could learn that little bit. It's going right there. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Okay, let's bump it up a little bit more. Now the idea here too is, as we repeat this over and over, is to try to memorize it. Okay, I'm going to leave it on screen for right now, but we'll take it off and we'll revisit it in a second too. So don't get too glued onto the screen. And again, if you like, you can click the link downstairs and get a transcription of this totally free, but click the link down there. Okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can we do it there again? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so as we're doing this too, I'm plucking, I can't speak. I'm plucking a little bit higher on the neck, only because of the screen availability here. I usually pluck down here, but I want to be able to show when I'm plucking, and you can follow along that way too. So, but my real point of talking about the right hand is that we need to lighten up our right hand as we're playing, as we speed things up. Okay, so don't dig in super hard if you're feeling like it's getting a little sluggish or whatever. That's what's happening. Okay. All right, so let's move this up a little bit more, and we'll probably cap it out right here. We're at 100 beats per minute for beats 2 and 4, meaning we're at 200 beats per minute. Okay. And if this is too fast for you right now, it's totally fine. If it's too slow, do it faster. You can always pause this, rewind, check back in later. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And you can probably hear that. You can hear that last phrase that I'm hitting there, right? Because that's where we're heading next. But let's make sure that we can do this without what's on the screen if you were reading that even right now. So let's do it without the metronome just for a second to appease our non-metronome fans. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I totally flubbed that. Let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we're getting there. That's the first 4 bars of Round Reuben. Let's check out the next bit and see where it goes, okay? So remember where we're coming from. So right before this, here, and I can put it up as the first 4 bars actually. It might make a little bit more sense just to see how we're transitioning from the first 4 bars into the next 4 bars. So we've got that C down there transitioning into a B flat, okay? So, but I just want to focus on these next 2 bars. So in front of this, there's a C, right there. Let's talk about the notes really quick. The chords that you're seeing right here are approximations. Sorry, I should have done a disclaimer earlier. These are approximations done by hearing what Reuben is playing on the second statement of this melody, where it's just Joshua playing the melody itself, but then Reuben is playing the bass notes. So that's where I'm getting these chord changes from too, if there was any question about that. The chord changes are not super important at this point because we're just trying to learn the melody, do you know what I mean? But that's why they're there, okay? So let's look. We're coming from a C, C, B flat, E flat, and I'm playing all that just in half position right here. So now we're gonna end up making our way to this little minor third diminished line. And so you could make the case of this being C7 flat 9 because we're getting up to a D flat. So E natural, G, B flat, D flat. But how do we get to that? With this hip enclosure like this. So it's a whole step above where we're trying to get to. So we're starting right here at a G flat, which is a whole step above E, right? This is important. We want the ear chromatically to lead to this note that's landing on this strong beat of 1. So we've got G flat, F, E flat, then E natural. Now how to finger that perhaps? I've been doing it like that. So I've been doing 4 on G flat, 2 on F, 1 on E flat, and then 2 on E natural. You could go up with open G string here, then 4, 2, 4, or you could do 2 and fret this G. Fret, I know there's no frets, but play it with your on the D string instead. But we're trying to get to this closer here. And then there's a little phrase at the end, or at this measure here, that I'm playing 4, 2, 1, and then 1, open, 4, 1, 4. Now here, I like to do this just for when it speeds up. You could play this a number of ways, and I'm looking at the last measure right now. You could do 1, 4, 4, 1, open, right? It's going to a G, which I should say. Or you could do like this. Because of the next phrase that's coming up, this is how I'm setting this up. So anyways, that's my really, really quick rundown of my fingering that I'm using here. And it's basically because I've been working this up to speed. So as there are fingerings that are going to work slower, there are fingerings that are going to work faster. That's really just what I'm trying to convey here now. So let's get into practicing this part, okay? So we're just going to work on these 4 measures for right now. And we'll start with the C that precedes this B flat right here, okay? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. leading to a G. Okay, and so all of this is bebop language basically too, by the way, if that's not something that you noticed. So needs to be said. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I totally flubbed that up. Sorry. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 2, 1, 2, 3. Cool. Let's try speeding it up. Let's move it to 80. Okay, so this is 80 at 2 and 4, so it's really 160, right? Same thing though. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Good. Nice. Move it up again. Going to 90, so this is 180, and we'll stop at 200, but if they go faster actually. So they're at more, it's like 240, 250-ish. So we're going to stay under though, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And again, remember to stay light as we're playing these eighth notes. I'm alternating my fingers in the right hand to be able to play this. I'm not doing it all index finger. And I'm also not turning my fingers over this way, right? No, I'm not doing that. I'm still trying to get a good grip on the string. But anyways, let's do it one more time at 90 and then we'll bump it up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Cool. All right. Let's do it at 100. So we're at 200 here. Then we'll put the 4 bars together, make 8 bars, and we'll check out the next half of the tune. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 1, 2, 3. How about one more time, because I definitely made a big mistake in that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. So that's starting to feel pretty good. Let's take it away and see if we can hit all, put those two sections together. So we're going to look at the first 8 bars, which is this, but I'm not going to keep it on the screen because if you've been practicing along with me, it should more or less be under your fingers. And if it's not, we're going to shed it and it will become that, right? Again, listening to this recording is really where it's at. Play it along with the recording. At the tempo they're at, we're still not there tempo-wise, but you can always slow it down, right? In certain ways, there's a bunch of different tools to do that. So I encourage you to do that. Play it along with the recording. It's how I learned it. I didn't learn it from a sheet or anything. I wrote it out from the music, right? So let's try the first 8 bars all together. You ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Leading to that G. Okay, I want to hit it one more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, feeling pretty good. It's feeling pretty relaxed right there. I can phrase that. It doesn't feel too fast or awkward yet. There are some twists and turns in there that we could talk about that are in the chart as well, but let's try the same thing at this tempo. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ha, totally fell apart there. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That felt a little bit better. I don't know why, but I like to pull this back, and maybe it's from playing along with the recording. Like there, I like to really lean back on that particular phrase right there. Let's bump it up. So I just moved it to 90 now. Let's try the same thing, 8 bars. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Feeling all right? Again, 2, 1, 2, 3. Cool. It kind of feels like we're learning a bird head, right? Like a bird melody. And there's a lot of that language that's just right here, you know? So let's move it up. We're at 100 beats per minute for 2 and 4, which is of course 200, and then we'll check out the next half of the tune. Let's do it 2 times through. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, cool. How is that feeling? It's obviously faster, so we've got to lighten up, keep those eighth notes bouncing. We're not really swinging super hard on these eighth notes. They're a little bit more straight, but again, that you need to go to the recording for. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool, cool, cool. All right, right on. So let's check out the next half of the tune. We're really not learning a lot of music. I mean, there's a lot of music. We're not learning a ton of material today. Just these 12 bars, basically. So, is that right? No, 16, I'm sorry. I think I said 12 earlier, too, as it like a blues, but it's really not. It's 16, so 4 sections of 4 bars. So let's look at the next 4 measures. And here's, let me play the recording, too, so we can hear where we're at. So listen back to where we were. Here we are. Okay, so that little section right there that just flew by really quick, and we're right here. Now, some of that, the way that this is written, is the way that Joshua is phrasing it, which when we speed it up, is really kind of super tricky to do on the bass. So we're going to find some alternative ways to do that. But let's just take notes at measures at a time. I'll talk about my fingering. You let me know with your fingering if it's differing from mine, if you find something that works better. And this is post too. If you're not live with us, let me know because I check the comments out. Okay. So we're getting into this first measure right here. And I like it, so I've been ending up actually on my second finger, which I know is a little unorthodox, you know, but if we think about where we're coming from, I'm coming from there, and that makes sense to me. So I'm playing 2, and then a big shift to get to B flat right here, first finger on the G string at C, and then E flat. Of course, you could think of doing open G, but then I just don't like doing that, especially when it gets faster. So again, I'm doing 2 on the G string, on the D string, 4 on the D string, 1 on the G string, 4 on the G string for that E flat. Now the next part, there's a little slide into it, right? A little bit of flavor right there. This is an A flat leading into an A, which I'm just doing. I'm hitting the note with, you could do this a few different ways. You could play the A flat with your second finger, give it a little hammer on, or just slide into it. Slide into it works pretty well too, especially when it's getting faster. And then 1, 4, 2 on G natural, right here on the third bar. That's how I'm fingering it. So where are we at? Now here, this last measure, Josh Redman is playing this, which is like this more saxophone, like turn type of thing that you would hear the horn players do really, really easily, which is maybe a different kind of thing for us. But I thought I would put it in that way. What most likely is happening, or most easier to do for the bass, is kind of similar to what we were doing up here. Something like that. So as the speed gets faster, you might find yourself wanting to do that. Okay, so let's play through these 4 bars. Okay, this is the second half of round robin. Cool. And if you like to go back to the recording, sing this rhythm. It really makes a lot of sense when you do that, but you want to get it down rhythmically before you're trying to put all this together, right? So let's start. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you hear how I did that? Or 1. If you want to play it like the way that Josh Redman is phrasing it. It's just kind of hard to do, especially when we get faster. At this tempo, that kind of works. You know, where you do that little thing, but I don't know. Let's try this much. Again, I'm at 70 beats per minute right now, so we're at 140, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, cool. Let's bump it up a little bit. Now I'm at 80 beats per minute, so 160. Same thing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool, feeling good, right? Let's move it to 90, so we're at 180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So at this tempo, what if I tried to do the other way? I can kind of do it. You probably can, but I mean, it's tricky for me. Do you know what I mean? Especially when we get actually to the Josh Redman, Ruben Rogers tempo. Okay, so let's try it one more time. We're at 90, and then we'll bump it up to 100. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Feeling good, right? Okay, let's move it to 100. Again, this is beats 2 and 4. It's at 100 where it's 2 and 4, so we're at 200 beats per minute. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Getting faster, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Let's try it again with that little turn there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's different, right? It's kind of tricky to do that. Let's see, can we put the whole melody up to this point at this tempo? So I'm going to no, let's leave it there. Let's leave it there at 200 beats per minute. See if we can do the whole melody up to this point that's on the screen now. Got it? So I'm going to take it away just because we don't need it, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. How'd you do there? So I've been shedding this, of course, but that needs even more work to get to the tempo actually that Joshua Redman and Ruben Rogers are playing it at. Okay, so let's check out the last 4 bars. We're almost there. We've almost got the whole thing. Again, if you want this whole sheet, it's really easy to get. Just click the link downstairs, and you get a free PDF at any time, whether you watch this live or later. Okay, so and just send me a thank you or something like that. Okay. All right, so let's look at the last 4 bars. Where are we coming from? We did, so if we're in the key of E flat, we're thinking the 3rd up to the 5th, but this is kind of a G minor chord, judging by what Ruben is playing the next time they play this melody. This is based off of just the first time where they're doubling it, but anyways, I already explained that, I think. So how I'm fingering these 4 bars, I am playing 4, 1, 4 on the D string, to 1 on the G string, which is B flat, like that, right? For the next little bit right here, 4, 1, and then a really quick shift down to half position to catch that E flat. Okay, Now, the trickiest part for me is this last little phrase right here. So let's take a look at it. Uh, that is more or less what Josh Redman is playing. Short, which is swinging, like you can do that at a slower tempo and make it really like fit right. Do you know what I mean? But when you start to get up to the tempo where they're doing it at, it's a little bit trickier, just like that previous phrase or that previous 4 bars that we were talking about. So how I'm figuring that: 4, 4, 1, 2, 1, and doing like a hammer-on pull-off. Which is good blues language, you know, like just good phrasing language to get into your fingers too, right? Okay, so, but when we start to get faster, you can make it sound more like that. So A natural, A flat, G flat. So we're just taking out that little turn. Okay, which kind of sounds like what Ruben is doing because it is so fast too. So just disclaimer there. If you have a hard time playing that, you're not alone. I'm going to turn on my metronome at 70 beats per minute for 2 and 4, so we're at 140, right? So let's try these 4 bars, and then we'll put them all together. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I put in that little turn. This time I'm going to take it out. Try it with me. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Okay, let's bump it up because I want to get to playing the whole thing a few times through. So this is now at 160, where the click is 80, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe I didn't address this too. You could finger this down here or play this lower on the register. But that to me is like a really awkward amount of shifting to do, whereas I can get everything in this one position right here, which is why I'm playing it right here. Okay, this melody wasn't written on a bass. I don't think. Maybe it was. Anyways, I could ask Ruben about it, I guess. Ruben, where are you? Let's try it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's move that to 180. So the clicks are at 90, but it's really 180, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Cool. Remember to lighten up that touch. Keep everything nice and floaty. Don't dig in too much. Don't not dig in enough too. You know what I mean? Get a good sound. Keep a good sound happening. But 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. So I didn't say we're at 200 beats per minute now. I just upped the tempo. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. And here you could do maybe, if you've got that, you know, under your fingers and that kind of vibe. But when we really start getting to the actual tempo, it's kind of a lot. Let's do it one more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. All right, cool, cool. Now let's do this. Let's take the whole melody, and we'll take it at a few different tempos, and we'll slowly speed it up. But it won't take us too long to do. So hopefully, if you've got all this memorized, that's amazing. Congratulations. If you still need to look at it, just click the link downstairs. You can get the PDF for free. It doesn't cost you a thing. You can always come back and watch this video later too, if you want to get that downloaded and then come check us out later too. So I'm gonna put my metronome at 140, and we're gonna try the whole melody. This is the whole first A section of the melody. There are other places to go too, but so disclaimer. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. it's feeling pretty good. It's, you know, it's swinging at this tempo to me. Let's move it to 160. Of course, you can do all of this at your own speed. This is how I'm shedding it right now. Okay, and again, what does this melody sound like? If that's been bugging you, that's, you know, that's obviously kind of a reference to, right? That's if you've been hearing that, you recognize that, I'm sure. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Cool. But swinging at this tempo, that works. It's when they start getting too fast. Why those guys got to play it so fast and so amazingly good? But anyways, I'm loving this. I love practicing melodies, and especially bebop melodies, because it's more challenging too. Or it's not more challenging than anything else. It's challenging, right? And this could very well be just a great solo too. All right, so I move my metronome to 180. Clicks are on 2 and 4, so at 90 if you want to do this now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. And I gave a little on that end, you know, because yeah, kind of can at this tempo, you know, or you know, starting to not be able to. Let's bump this up. So now we're at 200. You ready? You with me? Let's try it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so just because we're live, I'm going to bump it up a little bit more and until I fall apart on it, which won't take long. Trust me. So I just moved it to 110. What does that make? 220? So we're getting more in the ballpark, right? We'll listen back again and be amazed, because when you practice this stuff and then you go back and you listen, you practice it slower, but then you go back and listen to the actual recording, it's always like, damn, how did they do that? Do you know what I mean? So anyways, so now we're at 220, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. See, I tried for that. I just run out of it. Maybe there's another way to finger this or phrase this that works. But that works pretty well too. Okay, this glutton for punishment. I'm going to move it to, this is 120 for 2 and 4, giving us 240, which is starting to get in the ballpark of the recording. Okay, let's try it out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Getting harder to play that for me, you know, obviously, because you just heard what I played. But so what I need to do is to lighten up, do this a bunch, and to really start to internalize this melody even more. And what I like to do, if I'm able to, is to go beyond the speed of the recording that I need to play it at, or if I need to play it for a performance or something like that, I always go above the tempo that I need to do. So let's do that and just see how it goes. I said I would do it until it falls apart. I'm going to move it to 130, 260. I really shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to do it. I don't care. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that felt okay. I don't think I could do that again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. maybe if I was doing it like doubled with a saxophone, and like they do on the recording, and it kind of like covered up some of that, it would work. Let's listen back just really quick to the great Joshua Redman with Reuben Rogers playing Round Reuben. Here we go. I gotta let this play a little bit more. Hopefully we don't get booted. Here's where the chords come in. And it just go listen obviously to the recording, but the way Reuben accompanies the melody, and I was speaking to that earlier, our job, right, is to accompany melodies, play bass lines, play parts when need to, walking, to feel, whatever the style may be. And then, sometimes we get to solo, and then sometimes we get to play some melodies. So it's just good fun. That's the whole point of this. So, often we work on walking bass lines, and we should. A ton. But then sometimes we should definitely learn some melodies too, shed on that too, because it's going to come up. So cool. That was a lot of fun practicing. I'm going to hop into the comments really quick. If you have any interesting comments for me, suggestions, recommendations, check out some other stuff, some other melodies that you've learned, that you've been into. So another thing to mention is, I often too like to practice with the bow. And you can do this, you can do all of these things practicing with the bow, and it's really going to help your sound in, say, your left hand, and just your articulation. And when you go back to pizzicato, it's going to be something else. Okay, so let me hop in here. Okay, Juan. What's up, Juan? Good to see you again. Could you do a class on Joshua Redman's Courage Asymmetric Aria from the Beyond album? Ooh, that's a tall order, Juan. It's so good. That Beyond album is just killing. I don't know. I'm not going to say yay or nay, yes or no at this point, but that's definitely some territory we can get into the next time that we have, the next time that Reuben Rogers is available to come hang out with us. Maybe we can speak directly to the source and have him talk about it. So great suggestion. I love that album, obviously. If anybody's interested too, there's a new podcast that Reuben Rogers and myself have been doing entitled Upright Citizens. You can find it everywhere: Spotify, Apple, Google, Transistor, anywhere you get podcasts. It's called Upright Citizens. Don't click on Upright Citizens Brigade. That's obviously a different thing. But Upright Citizens, our little punny tribute to playing the upright bass, the double bass. But we just had Gregory Hutchinson on as a special guest. The episode has not been released yet, but we spoke a little bit about the Beyond album, of course, because it's so killing. But thanks, Juan. Great comment, great question. Hey, Chris, what's up? Hey, once again from the Great White North. Good to see you as always. Thanks for hanging out here in the Building Blocks of Bass. So I love doing this, and I love seeing people that come back. We all need someday, when all this comes together, just come hang out somewhere. Have a big bass hang, right? How cool would that be? So good to see you, Chris. Okay, I have many students who seem to be allergic to the metronome. Yes. I can speak from just a personal place where my daughter, and Sophie, if you're watching right now, you're kind of allergic to the metronome still, aren't you? You haven't built up that immunity yet. So I like how you put that, though. Allergic. You can kind of like get over, you can't get over every allergy, obviously, but you can build that up a little bit, right? Dave Shepard, what's up? Always good to see you. It's tough for me to imagine practicing time without a metronome, to be honest. I mean, we've talked about this before for sure. I'm pro metronome. I'm also pro turning it off, which actually we didn't do, obviously, in our practice session today. But do that, Practice along with the recording to really get that feel right. Practice without a metronome to try to hear that and keep your tempo cool, right? But I practice a ton with a metronome. I just really do. But I try to get as little amount of information as I can. There's just, every now and then somebody's just like, turn that metronome off. And we all have different paths to our goals, So if you're not into using a metronome, that's cool. But thanks, Dave. It's tough for me to imagine not practicing with a metronome, too. Excellent comment. Thank you. Terry Hale, what's up, Terry? Great as always, Bob. Thanks. Hey, you're the man, Terry. Always appreciate you commenting here and hanging out with me and building blocks of bass. Love to do it. So thanks. Good to see you. Dave Shepard, again, let's see. I like using open G to get into that E flat 6 run in the first measure line 3 of the PDF. Using open G to get into that E flat run. Okay, in the first measure, line 3, the first measure of the third line, the third section that we practiced, perhaps? Yeah, so, and you know, I'm not going to look it up just for clarity's sake or for me not getting too sidetracked, 'cause I'm going to just dig around and be like, oh, so maybe here. You could use open G for a lot of this, actually. Is it that? Or this? It's probably that, right? Is that what you mean? I don't like going open G there. I like going down. I already explained. Just because it sets me up in this next section. Maybe there? Which would be a good place to use the open G as a bridge, right? So maybe it was one of those places too, but excellent. Thanks so much for saying that, Dave. There's a bunch of different ways to finger this. I was just sharing some of the ones that I've been doing lately, but I might go and try that, you know, with the open G. The rub is though, right, Dave, and you already know, what if we had to play this in a different key? You know, and we couldn't get to those open strings to bridge, you know, bridge some of these fingerings, right? So if we practiced them in the next key, we wouldn't really have that available, which is, you know, just to be a downer on the whole situation using the open G that you just mentioned. But anyways, thanks, Dave. Always good to see you. Great comment. Thanks for chiming in. Hey, what's up? I know that's you, Floyd Cherry's hanging out. Sonny loves jazz. What's up, man? I'm glad you got your upright too, man. Thanks for discussing the fingering. Being new to the upright is really helpful. Excellent, excellent. My pleasure. I figured that was an important aspect of what we were going to talk about today. I didn't just want to burn through it. So there's, you know, fingering discussions are kind of all over the place. Do you know what I mean? Like certain people are like, it has to be one way, it has to be another way. It's all a personal thing. But as I'm sure you already know, it's all about the sound and the feel. If it sounds right, if it feels right, and you can pull it off at like whatever tempo we need to do it at, then that's what's up. So, but yeah, check that out. You know, if anybody's interested in some of my other courses, I talk a lot about fingerings on the building blocks of bass. If that's something you're interested in, walking with scales, we really get into fingerings. And then also where are the notes? Of course, all of that has, you know, these are all my open studio courses that have fingerings available with them. So if that's something you're interested in. So, but great. Always good to see you here. Appreciate the comment. Let's see, who's up next here? Micah, what's up, Micah? As a piano player, wannabe bassist. Oh, I like this already. I'm learning language applicable to any instrument and ideas I could never come up with. Well, I don't want to limit my future growth, eh? Yeah, and so, you know, that's a great comment. I mean, this isn't a melody. Music can be played with whatever instrument. I mean, you can listen back to this and you hear Gregory Hutchinson playing the melody too. Not all of the time, but especially at the beginning where he's on the brushes. Well, he's playing brushes for all of this at this point. But yeah, music is music. It's a language. You know, we have different ways of saying, like different ways of getting the music out. So yeah, putting it on a piano would be a great melody to learn. Piano, guitar, trumpet, any instrument, honestly. So, but what I really like about it is obviously, you know, the note choices, the phrases, the lines, but there is a lot of really good, what Hal Galper would call jazz rhythms inside of this melody, which is a big deal, right? Like thinking syncopated, thinking, you know, not starting phrases on beat one, or a lot of ands, hitting things on two, fours, etc. There's a lot of good jazz rhythms inside of this melody. So, but yeah, thanks, Micah. Great comment. Mario, hey Mario. This is where I remember I have to practice my sight reading and fingerings. Yeah, it's hard even on the electric. Yeah, so yeah, definitely. It's you know, it doesn't make it any easier to play it on electric for sure. And you know, I wish there was a clear-cut way to just, you know, have fingerings for both that wasn't to get too heavy inside of these sessions. But if you ever want to talk about the fingerings, maybe that would work on electric bass, just hit me up. In our bass access pass capacity, do you know what I mean? So if anybody's interested in that too, Mario is a member of the Bass Access Pass over at Open Studio. where we get together and we do these like live Zooms and we practice stuff really geared specifically towards growth and sound and time and really interesting bass, hopefully really interesting bass stuff. And then we also have a community board where we can talk about a lot of cool bass stuff. So, if you're interested in something like that, check the link below too. It's a really cool program that we have going on. But yeah, it's doesn't matter the instrument. I'm sure even on piano, my friend Micah earlier was talking about. I'm sure there's some places where that's something you got to just work out. But really, start slow, obviously, Mario, and build it up. Find the tempo, find the fingerings that work slow, and then when you speed up, you might realize that, oh, I need to change this particular fingering. But a lot of them are still going to work, right? Cool. And then sight reading, yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing for sure. Always working on that. But thanks, Mario. Good to see you. Peace. Be well. Let's see, Dave. At 1:20 and 1:30, I'm just watching you, Bob. Man, I was kind of watching me too. So, like fumble, start to feel that tempo. It was like, the metronome's getting off now. You know that feeling, right? Hey, the metronome is speeding up. But as you inch closer, like I was saying earlier too, when you inch closer to those higher tempos, bringing it back down is kind of like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like if you've been practicing or shedding a bunch of odd time signatures. I'm sure people can relate. If you've been shedding a bunch of odd times or really playing fast a bunch, then you go back to that like 90, 95 beats per minute blues in the key that you like. It just feels good. You know what I mean? It feels awesome. So, but yeah, thanks, Dave. Thanks for joining me and practicing along with me. Really appreciate it. Damien, what's up? Hey, Damien, good to see you. Another BAT member, another bass all access pass member right here. Awesome. Thanks, Bob. Great tune. Tough tune to memorize without looking at it. Yeah, for sure. So my 2 cents on that is I in these sessions I do provide the transcription, but I learned this just from the recording, and I slowed it down, because I needed to for certain sections to really try to hear what they're doing. And I think that's the best way to memorize anything. Honestly, it's hard for me to memorize stuff, or harder for me to memorize stuff from a piece of music. But I know you and I have talked about, like transcribing and just using your ears and really internalizing it. And this is just like we would do with walking bass lines or anything else. So it's just a matter of, I'll take 2 bars at a time. I'll take 4 bars at a time personally. This is honestly how I would shed this myself. Learn 4 bars at a time. Make sure I've really got that before I go on to the next bit. So take bites, really thoroughly chew them up, and move on to the next bite, So, but yeah, right on, Damien. Good to see you. Thanks for being here today. Very cool. Hey, Max, what's up? Thanks for giving us challenging stuff, but presenting it in a way that gives me a way to approach it and grow. Oh, good to hear. Excellent. Yeah, my pleasure, Max. I love doing these sessions, obviously. And, I thought this would be a really fun one, bass-centric, but getting away from, just the walking bass ideas. And to challenge ourselves. We should always be doing that. That's how we grow, obviously. So, but hey, loving your pictures too, by the way. Loving your bass pictures, as always, Excellent. Very cool stuff. So, but thanks for practicing with me today. Hey, Chris, what's up? I really like the Israel Crosby melody you taught us on, but not for me. Is that considered a bass melody? Hey, uh, hmm. No, well, first of all, thank you. I think that's really great, and that's a line that we hear a lot in different ways, but it's kind of, that's the ubiquitous "but not for me" phrase. But the melody itself is so. But to call it a melody, a bass melody, perhaps because it's maybe a counter melody, but it's not the melody of "But Not For Me." Just to say it that way. But it's sometimes bass lines or bass parts, or other instruments too, become part of the definitive version. Not that maybe that version is the definitive "But Not For Me," but it's up there. A lot of people obviously have heard that, and we're talking about Ahmad Jamal live at the Pershing, playing "But Not For Me," Israel Crosby. So, but it's definitely could be a melody. It's functioning that way, but I would call it more like a fill. But good to hear. Cool, Chris. Thanks for the comment, man. Good to see you as always. Hey, Damien. Also, where are the other bass players in the Jam Session Challenge? Yes, so over at Open Studio Pro, there's a lot going on at Open Studio. I highly recommend you go check it out. There's a jam session challenge going on behind the scenes, and that's just for Open Studio Pro and for Base Access Pass members, and maybe there's something else too. There's so much going on. I have yet to do mine, Damien, so I can't speak of anybody else, but you were the first one, right? So kudos to you, man. We'll get in there. We'll get in there. Maybe I'll bust out my ukulele. Thanks, Damien. Hey, Edelson, what's up? Always good to see you here. Thanks. What about some tips to transcribe lines like this for yourself? Hey, okay. Where are we at time wise? I'm gonna probably wrap this up just because I have to go to another thing. But I'll address this, Edelson. Always good to see you. Thanks for that. For me personally, and I was thinking about breaking this down at some point. Maybe I'll do this in a future building blocks of base. I use a program if I need to slow something down, which is not always the case. I learn a lot of stuff just on YouTube, Spotify, anything. You know, iTunes is on, or if I'm at a gig listening to something or a show. But if I need to slow something down and really want to hear it, I'll use a program called Transcribe, which is an application inside of my computer that I can bring in the audio from, slow it down, put in good markers, save things really easily. But you know, using a program to slow down, there's that. And then even this, sometimes there's like there's a block. Like, okay, I can do that. I can slow that down, but hearing it. The number one thing to do is to work on your ear training. Really develop interval recognition, which there are good apps for that too, and it's something you can do even by yourself, of course. So understanding and really being quick with hearing intervals, building that up, and then that expands into hearing chords and harmony and things like that, which is really important for what we do as our job of being a supportive bass player. But I would recommend big time as much ear training as you can, understanding intervals, you know, and what they sound like, and really getting quick at recognizing them would help for transcribing. But check back. You know, I always see you here, so I'm sure you'll see. At some point, I'll likely do something on just the breaking down of transcribing something similar to like what we did today. But always good to see you, Edelson. Thanks for being here. So happy practicing, everybody. I got to get going. I'm always super grateful to be here representing Open Studio on the building blocks of bass. Once again, my name is Bob DeBoo. Happy practicing. Y'all all be well, stay safe, and we'll see you next week.